Okay, so welcome to Thursday Night Speakeasy. I'm not sure if it's got the right name this week because I don't think this is going to be easy to speak.
Well, there is booze, there is Guinness, so it's still
That's
Speakeasy.
true. It's a very good lubricant. Okay, so we're going to look at the spelling checker joke, as I called it. It's the title is I Halve a Spelling Checker, and that should give you an idea of what we're going to do with this little poem. There's, of course, the right way of reading it as if it's as it should have been written, but this is called the spelling checker joke because it's how a spell checker won't check for meaning. It will only check for spelling. And if you spell something correctly, even though it's not the word you meant, if it is a word, no spell checker will catch it. Now, you can try this out if you want. Open up Google and you can, if you've got Google Dictionary switched on, it will always sort of highlight. In fact, I'll do it now. I'll put it into the actual video. I'll put translate on. Okay, so I have let me see if I put I halve a spelling checker. Oh no, that doesn't work. Okay, maybe halve is a word. Oh, that's great. Oh no, it does. Okay, did you mean I halve a spelling checker? But it should.
It checks a little bit the grammar. A spelling checker check basic grammar, no?
Well, normally what it will do is check the spelling. Okay.
Only the spelling.
Only the spelling. Now there are websites out there that will try checking your grammar. There's Grammarly. There's another one. I'm trying to remember what it's called as I'm desperately trying to get this spell checker. Maybe I've switched it off. Anyhow, I'll come back to this. I'll have a little play. So let me go new Google Doc. See what Google Docs makes of it. Okay. Okay, so there you go. So here's the spell checker. Okay, so what it will do, a spell checker will check for bad spelling, okay, and sometimes it might check for alternative spellings, shall we say, or it might, Google Documents, for example, might try to work out what you're trying to say, but for this first two lines, I halve a spelling checker. It thinks it's perfect, it's fine. Whereas obviously if you were reading it as a person, written like that, you think, I? What's wrong with that I? Can anybody tell me? What's wrong with it? Is it okay?
Only one.
What should it be?
Should it be?
Half an eye. Any guesses?
Shouldn't be that word.
Well,
What about me?
how many mistakes
Just
are there
mine.
in that first line? How many mistakes are there in that line?
The verb not in third person, maybe?
It's not the right verb. Let's go.
Halves.
Come on. What is saying? There are three mistakes to me.
Yeah. Okay, I'll read it out.
You haven't figured out. Okay, that's funny. That's puzzling. And for the beginners, come on.
I halve a spelling checker. Okay. Now, I'll read it out as it should be read. I have a spelling checker. So, how should it be written? I have a spelling checker.
Private or in the nearby chat?
In nearby chat.
It's a game or?
No, we won't make it into a game. Try typing
might
it
be
into
too
the
tough.
nearby chat as I just said it, not as it's written. Exactly. Well done, Martin.
Martin.
Yay.
I agree with Martin. It's faster, that's all.
Exactly. So it should be written, and let me pop the. It should be written, I have a spelling checker. Okay, so with that in mind, do you fancy doing the second line?
Are you talking to
What
Martin?
do you think it should say?
With my computer,
Yes. But the rhyme is not so good. It's
You
not
see.
a rhyme, it's a poem. It's a poem. So it's got to rhyme with C.
yeah, PC, I mean computer, yeah.
Okay, so what's wrong with that? That says PC.
The sound is a little bit longer, no? PC. 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 PC.
Yeah. So it should be
It's a long-
PC as in
it's
the
a long-
short form for personal computer, shouldn't it? Okay. Okay.
This is the easiest part.
So let's first. I'll do the first. Okay, that's the first verse. So I'll read the first verse out as it is written. Okay, and then I'll get one of you to read out the corrected version. Okay. But after that, I'm going to make you do all the hard work because I've got a sore mouth. I've been at the dentist. Okay, so
What an excuse, guys.
I have a spelling checker. It came with my PC. It plainly marks for my review mistakes I cannot see. Okay, so what do you think it should say?
Tapping down.
We've done the first two lines, so
So, plainly Max. It's good for pronunciation. So it plainly. Max for.
oh, hang on,
my-
sorry. That should be I have.
Oh.
I'm just giving you the first two lines again. There you are. I have a spelling checker. It came with my PC.
So here, the easiest, and mistakes. I cannot see. Guys, I've been reading this one so a few weeks ago, so I've got an advantage here. I will have to admit.
Okay, you are cheating. Okay.
Well, it was
I'm
her
not
idea.
cheating.
I did warn everybody
Yeah,
last week this was going to happen, but if you weren't here, if you didn't watch, you can't watch the recording. Don't forget, if you're not here and you're normally here and you want to watch the recording, I'll probably let you. Unless we spoke about you, in which case I won't let you.
Well, I disagree a little bit with the sound of king and can. Well,
I
maybe-
cannot see. Yeah. But this isn't about this.
But the
this is-
brain, your brain is going to, if you understand what it say, you are not going to read it as it's written.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
are
yeah.
going to read it with a substitution, and this is when you try to read it as it's written. This is extremely difficult. I'm not successful with that. I tend to, yes.
Well, I'm
I-
a native speaker. I have to think twice because my brain. It's like that silly thing that goes around saying, "Have you got an extraordinary brain? Can you read this?" And it's dead easy. It does not. I'm sorry to tell you, it doesn't mean you've got an extra. It means you can read. Okay, because our brains will always interpret things, and that your brain will interpret the poem as it kind of knows it should be written. Now, that's especially true for native speakers. It might be different. It might actually be easier for learners to read what's written.
But not so easy because it's a mixed sentences. We can work out what should be the meaning or what our brain think is the meaning. We are going to to change it. We are not going to read what is written. But it's not true for the full sentence necessarily, just a few words. It's a sentence we don't understand, we can't figure out the meaning, we are going to read it as it's written, and so the whole poem, the whole poem for us, for me, the first time I read it, I said, I don't understand this stanza at all. What does that mean? And I was reading it as it was written. I couldn't figure it out, and I came back to it. So there is a mix. It's the reason why, to me, for me, anyway, it's more a riddle than a joke. And the joke, I start to have a good laugh when I've been able to work out a big part of it. But before that, say what the heck is that? It's a riddle.
Well, I'm really glad it was kind of, proving a bit of a challenge for you, to be honest.
Yeah, it was. It is honestly, and even because, well, I've got a big problem with pronunciation anyway. I've always had one, and so it's confusing like hell, because I don't really know what the right pronunciation how it's usually pronounced, because it's kind of game and riddle, and well, so at some point I say never mind. I love this poem.
It is a great. I mean, whoever wrote it, it was written before the internet, so it kind of became a meme. Anonymously, if you like. I still don't know who wrote it. I did find out who wrote the chaos, the one that's the pronunciation chaos poem. That's great fun to read, but that you can read that on VoiceThread, so if you want to challenge yourself. April's already completed it, by the way, and she did a great job. Yeah, she did a fantastic job, honestly. But that's more dearest creature in creation, let me tell you of English pronunciation. I will tell you in my verse sounds like blah blah blah, and that's more of a challenge because the pronunciation is there to trick you up. I mean, at one point even I said Arkansas because I didn't know it's actually Arkansas. So it must have been written by an American, because I was like, Arkansas, that doesn't really rhyme. And then an American kindly pointed out to me, actually it's Arkansas. I said, really? I never knew that. Okay, so, Zom, I'd like you to read the correct version, okay?
Okay. Chequer is a blessing. It frees you lots of time.
Oh, no, stop. No, I'd like you to read the correct version. I've just put it in local chat, okay? I'm not going to be that mean to you yet.
Okay. First one.
The second stanza, the correct version.
No, the first stanza, the correct version. Okay, I read out. Yeah, the first. I've just put it in local chat.
Yeah. Okay, now I can see it now. I was not. The window was not open actually. I have a spelling checker. It came with my PC. It plainly marks for my review mistakes I cannot see.
Very good. For my review, by the way, review. Not review. Review.
Okay.
It's a false prefix. Okay, it's just to review something rather than to review it. Let's review this film, as opposed to let's review this film. So
it marks for my review.
Yes, that's it. As in to look at it and criticize it, to critique it. Okay, very good. Well done. Okay, now's the challenge that you're going to have to take over. And what I'd like you to do next, Zom, don't worry guys, you're going to be up in a moment. I'd like you to read the second stanza as it is written. Okay?
Yes, true. Ready? Be careful guys, because it's how my... Okay. A checker is a blessing. It frees you loads of time. It helps me write all styles to read and aids me when I rhyme.
Very good. Wow. I'm impressed.
I'm working on it 2 weeks ago, but I've been working on it.
That's really good. No, I'm impressed. I think you did better than I did in the video. My goodness. Okay, so now, of course, what we need to say is, how should it be written? if it was written correctly. Okay. Hi, Monique. Nice to see you.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Monique.
Hi.
First line,
Hello.
guys.
Hello.
Goes for the second one.
Oh, hello, Monique.
Well done, Traum. Yeah, very
Hi,
good.
Oscar.
Very good. Monique, if I don't know if you got the... Did you get the message through the group chat with the link?
Nope.
Okay, let me give you the link. This is what we're doing.
Nope.
Ah, well done, Traum. Yay. That's it.
Don't know. I don't know to speak the right guys feeling worse.
That's really good. Well done. No, you're doing great. Both of you. Well done. You're beating the guys.
Yay! Guys, you are not brave enough. You are afraid of making mistakes. So you don't give it a go. That's no fun. I said lots, and you say lot of time. What should it be? Lots or lot? I say lots. You could say loads. Okay. You can speak, Martin.
Yeah, Martin, take the mic. You don't have to.
No, I don't want to speak because I'm not
You're
good
scared.
at the spelling.
Come on, Martin.
So I told you, it's more for us. It's more of a riddle than a joke, actually. So we are very cautious.
No, you've done really well. Now, you said, Zom, you said you weren't sure if it should be loads or lots. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In this particular one, I would say loads rather than lots because it says loads. So there's a lot of the kind of phonetic issues here. So there's a phonetic issue there. But you can say lots. I mean, if you were going to say lots, you can say lots. If you want to say loads, you can say loads. But it would make more sense that it's loads of time, which just means a lot of time. Yeah? That's all it means. Yeah. Okay.
So looking forward, he's going to read that.
Well, I think as Traum did a lot of the work on that, a lot of the heavy lifting on that. Okay. I'm just checking. Okay. So I'm just checking. So, Traum, would you like to read the correct version in nearby chat? Okay.
Okay, I'll try it. A checker is a blessing. It frees you loads of time. It helps me write all styles to read and aids me when I rhyme.
Very good. Well done. Excellent. Excellent.
Okay. So
Now.
Martin or Oscar or
No,
Monique,
Traum.
that's easy.
Traum.
Traum, yeah.
Traum, I'd like you now. I'll put a line under that one. I'll draw a line under that. And I'd like you now to read the third verse as it is written. So be careful.
Okay. Now, I am not in a hurry. Each phrase composed on my screen. I trust to be a goal. The checker pores over every word to check some spelling rule.
Very good. I would say that at the first line, you read it a little bit like it should be written. Okay, it would come out like this. Each phrase posed up on my screen. Okay, because it's come and posed. Each phrase come posed up on my screen. Okay.
That's why I do not understand this sentence. Each
Well,
phrase
no.
had been composed up on my screen. It turned up, so to speak. Do they mean?
Well, let's write it. Monique, well done. You've missed out the up. Okay, but what you're looking at there is practically perfect. Well done. So each phrase composed upon my screen is how it should be written. Okay. Okay, which then makes much more sense, of course. Remember, Traum, this poem is written with lots and lots of spelling mistakes. Okay, but they're not really spelling mistakes because they are real words in their own right. Okay, so a spell checker wouldn't catch them, but they make nonsense of the sentences. When you hear the sentences, your brain will go, oh, that's okay, yeah. But if you read them as they're written, it's very difficult because your brain's thinking, this is nonsense, and it tries to make sense from it, okay?
You are nonsense. It
is a nonsense rhyme. In some ways, that's the closest I could come to saying it is actually a nonsense rhyme. Now, the other one, hang on a second.
Jewel.
Okay, I'll let you off with that one. Jewel is a jewel, so that would be okay. Anybody got any idea of the second line in that verse? So each phrase composed upon my screen. I trust. You're saying I trusted, but if you look, it's I trust, not I trusted.
I trust. I trust, yeah?
Yeah.
I trust.
I trust, not I trusted. Yeah, I trust. Now, what's happened there, Monique? You're looking at the word rather than thinking of the word. Okay, so you're looking at the word trust. It's got ed at the end, and you're thinking, oh, then it must be in the past, trusted. But if you say it, if you think the word rather than looking at it, it's trust. What does that sound like? It sounds like trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We must find another word that matches that sound.
Yeah, not 100%. Like the kin, I cannot see. Yeah, that was can, but it's written kin because I guess I can't personally think of a word that rhymes with can that would be spelt differently. Unless maybe you could put can. Is it can or is it cans? Can, is that can? John?
Can.
It is can. So they could have put can. I can not see. But yes, I trust to be a jewel. That's it. I trust to be. And that means I believe it is. I believe it to be. Yeah. So the next one's a bit trickier.
This one, it's force over.
Checker
But sure,
pause over every word. It looks every word.
The funny part.
It looks over every word. The
So
checker.
what word in there is actually wrong? Is there a word in there that's wrong, or is that sentence okay? What do you think?
To me, the sentence is okay because you can force is okay. But the checker pours over every word. Pours. Well, yeah, but it's a poem, so even if you have got an apostrophe instead of the V, it remains right. To me, this doesn't change.
Okay, so I
It's
think you've got a bit of a problem. Not over, no.
it's a powers every word. The checker powers. Oh, okay, it's pours over. It's not over. You have to read it over, and it would make powers.
Was it the
Power?
checker?
That's.
Does it
I'm,
checker?
I think
Pours
it's
over something.
to pour over something.
Yep. To pour a Guinness.
Yes, I know.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
But you don't pour over a Guinness. That would be a crime. Okay. To pour over, it's P-O-R-E. Now, P-O-R-E is also the pores in your skin, the little holes in your skin that you sweat through, the pore,
Yeah.
P-O-R-E. But it also means to pour over something, means to look at it minutely. Okay?
Oh.
To really study something. Okay?
Linguist.
So that one's pretty, yeah, pour over, phrasal verb, Monique. Well done, don't scream, don't scream. Don't scream. Yeah, well done, Martin. Pour over, phrasal, to pour over something, a phrasal verb. Okay? And again, it's tricky because pour and pour, they're what we call homophones. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
So you really need to know your spelling to get that one. It does look really right. That's why I said this one's tricky, because it really looks right, unless you're good at spell checking. So the checker pours over or. Now remember, or is okay. Okay, that is fine. Poetically. I think, Traum, you were at the session when we did The Lady of Shalott, and there was a lot of those just to make it fit, because or fits better than over. Over is too distinctive, over. And or is more like oh. Where did the second syllable go? It's a poetic license. Remember, Traum? Monique, you were there as well, weren't you? Were you there? Were you reading in that? No, you weren't. No, it was too early. But
It's got
can't remember
startling
who was
eyes, so she must.
Yeah.
She wasn't there.
Uh-oh. But or is just poetic license for over. It makes the rhyme fit. And you will find it in a lot of literature and poetry and songs as well. You're having lunch. It's all right. I had my pudding at the beginning of the session. I couldn't speak. Bon appetit. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
Okay, now the last line in that verse.
It's
well done, Monique.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
might be eating, but
excellent.
she's on the ball. Very good. Very good. Perfect.
Hey, ladies, I've got the point, guys. Huh? Martin, Oscar,
Oh, definitely.
you are left behind. You're left behind in here.
I'm warming up.
You're warming up? Okay, waiting for you.
Yeah.
There are plenty of stanzas, so don't take too long to warm up.
Now, I'm a bit worried about asking Monique to speak if she's eating her dinner, eating lunch. Monique, are you able to speak, or would you prefer to... I'll put you in for later. Is that
Skip.
okay? Skip you. Okay. Then, Oscar, your mic is definitely working, so I'm going to ask you to read the first, the just corrected verse as it's correctly written, okay?
Okay. So, let's see. Each phrase composed upon my screen, I trust to be a jewel. The checker pours over every word to check some spelling rule.
Yeah, to check some spelling rule. Not spellings.
Spelling rule.
Spelling rule, yeah. Spelling is uncountable. Okay. Actually, I have heard Americans say spellings, check your spellings. But it's, for me, it's like nails down the blackboard. It's like, it's horrible. Okay, and jewel.
Yeah.
Not jewel.
Yeah, I didn't get...
Jewel.
Yeah. Jewel.
Yeah. Now, does
Jewel.
anybody know
Is
what...
it
Mhm.
Jewel and Jewel? The wrong. The original word and this one, they've got the same pronunciation, right?
Yes, indeed. So you've got jewel, which is, does everybody know what joule is with the Joule?
It's linked to physics. Is it a measure?
Yes.
Unit
Measurement
measure
unit
in physics?
of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly spot on. Well done. Yeah, it's energy, Newton's law, and all that stuff. Okay, we're not going to do a
All
science
that
lesson,
No.
but it has actually
Stuff.
got the same.
That stuff. Let
That stuff, yes. Hey,
say
hey,
that.
honestly, Oscar, I gave a geography lesson this week. You know, I am only a little lowly English teacher. I'm not a science teacher, a maths
I
teacher,
do
or a
wear
geography teacher. It's the trouble with being an English teacher. It's awful. You have to kind of be everything. People ask you questions
awful,
about...
jeez.
Yeah, it is. It's awful. People ask you about maths and history and geography, and you're expected to know everything. Now, there's a slight difference, okay? But generally, jewel. Yeah, jewel. Can you hear it? Oh, I'm not sure. Can you hear it when I play it? Hang on.
Jewel.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you've got the other.
Jowl.
Isn't that weird? Now, you see, I would never say it that way. I'd always say it jewel. But the Americans say jowl, which is weird.
Oh,
Americans are weird. Well, that's what lovely old Google's saying. However, when you go to how do you say, and I trust it more because it agrees with what I think, it says
Jew. Jew.
This is what I
This is a clear example. English needs always a context.
Jew.
But we've got the context here.
Can you hear the
It
male
doesn't
voice?
matter, it's
By the
just-
way, can you hear the man's
No.
voice? The man's voice.
Jew.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one that I agree with. So we'll go with how do you say rather than Google.
All right.
Come on, we all do it online. We find something that agrees with what we already think, and we stay on that. We think,
So
oh,
you're
they
faulted.
must be right. Thank you, Money. You agree with me. It's true.
No, don't agree with her. You shouldn't consider that. You can't say, I'm not the only one, that's all. It's all you can say.
Okay, Oscar, here's your more challenging challenge. And this is to read the next verse as it is written. Okay?
Okay, I'll have a try. Before a veiling checkers, our spelling might decline, and if were lax or have a lapse, we would be made to whine.
Very good. Well done.
How strange!
No, you pronounce it's pronounced hour, like a French one.
Hour is hour. Actually, he pronounced it perfectly, Zom.
Oh gosh, so I've got a problem.
You've got a real
Thank you.
problem there.
Thank you, Lynn.
I'm the French one, so it's alright, I can make these mistakes.
Okay, sorry, I've
Oh,
just
gosh.
noticed, Traum, you asked for the mic. Traum, take the mic.
Yeah, thank you, Lynn. Now, I just wanted to ask you, because it irritated me, they check some spelling rule. Can we not set the rule in rules?
Well, it could be some spelling rules, plural, but it can also be some spelling rule or other. It can be singular. Okay?
Uh-huh. Okay.
I've got to
Then
check
it's
some
clear.
spelling rule, as in a random spelling rule. Okay? I've got to check some spelling rules. I've got to check several. Okay, so yeah, I know what you mean, but it is okay to use it in this context. It just means a random, some spelling rule or other. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, Lynn. And thank you that you were aware that I had a question.
I do scroll up and down the chat as because I sometimes do miss them, so I try to scroll up and down to see if I've missed anything. Okay, so Traum's jumped right to the second line of that verse, but what about the first line?
I think the beginning is before.
Veil, availing.
Feeling.
Well
Before
done.
they were. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Availing.
Yeah.
The
Available.
third is
Yeah.
much more
To
challenging.
avail. To avail yourself of something.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that word, so.
No, this is where it's good to have an English teacher with you.
Yeah,
If you-
definitely.
If
Because
you
yes, all of
avail,
us,
if you avail yourself of something, you get it. Okay, you take advantage of it. So you're availing yourself of this opportunity to practice your English.
Yes, that's it.
I knew that it was about a time before checkers, but I didn't know that word. Yeah.
Yeah, basically that's what I mean. Let's face it, all this technology is really new. Okay. But your
New
pronunciation
voice.
of hour was perfect. So Zom, you need to realise silent H for
Oh,
hour.
yeah.
Okay.
I
It's
got,
so
I
funny
got
when you
problem
said
with
he
everything.
said hour instead of hour. I'm like, oh no. And I've got it on
I think
tape.
I'll have to accept that because I don't like you streaming. Anyway,
I think I'm streaming.
Hear that?
I'm never quite
It is
sure
streaming.
till I see it on live on till I see
it's
it
okay
actually
with me,
live.
but I just have to get over it. That's all, and I will keep
Yeah.
going making these kind of mistakes and talk out loud. So I'm afraid I will have to live with that. Never mind. Oh gosh. At least you can see my face, Oscar, because I'm all red all over.
Okay, but Charm did beautifully on the second line. Our spelling might decline. Okay, so might, M-I-G-H-T, and hour, even though it sounds the same, spelt differently. Okay, still a homophone, hour and hour. Okay, because of the silent H. Yeah, and might, yeah, that's it. Our spelling might decline. Instead of might, does anybody know might? Is that a word?
Is that an animal?
Yeah, it's a tiny little bug. You get like a bed bug. You get mites in flour if the flour gets old. In fact, there's probably mites in flour before you can actually see them. So it's a bit of protein, extra protein for you. Flour mites. Yeah, tiny little bugs. And dust mites.
Dust
Dust mites. Don't look them up. Whatever you do, don't look. There's a negative side to the internet and science, and that's that they've been able to show dust mites
Oh,
to the
Related
naked eye,
allergies.
and they're disgusting. They are so disgusting. Yeah, absolutely, Traum. But they're everywhere. Yep, a bug, a
it's
kind
everywhere,
of insect. Yeah.
even
Everywhere.
on us.
Everywhere.
Oh,
Don't
cool.
think about it. You start itching. I'm scratching.
Because it makes me think of the video you uploaded on the community about the stuff people always use to wash their hands, or every time they touch something and they want to get rid of all the bacteria. I don't remember the name, and so it makes me think of that. So you can't get rid of that. You can do whatever you like. It's never going to be 100% free. That's good. I like the idea. I want to see them now.
Oh, don't. You'll regret it.
Just imagine we are all monsters.
We're covered in them. Absolutely covered in them.
And it's crawling. It's moving all the time as well.
All the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so our spelling might decline. And if we're lax or have a lapse.
The third line.
Yeah,
Next.
the third line next. Yeah. Sorry,
I
I
haven't
didn't
figured
realise.
out what it is actually.
Very easily that one. I have a problem with we that part. Where
Where lax or
if
have a
where
lapse?
lag,
Have a
lag.
lapse?
Something here. I don't know.
Lax,
Yeah,
lax, I'm
not
happy with
lax.
Or have a
No.
lapse. Maybe
Think
the
you're
last
right
part,
about
but I'm
the
not sure about the
we.
part.
You're
I
like the
like
we.
lax. I wouldn't change it because when you lack something, something is missing. We are,
It's
we
we're,
are,
and
we
if
are,
we're,
or have a lapse. Elapse.
nope.
If we're
I can't make sense of the
If
sentence.
we're-
It's something that goes to be with to be. To
the third one is
be.
Allah, or have a lapse. For me,
No, it's more to
That's part, but
be.
not the first one. I word lax. I don't know.
It's more to be not careful. If we're not careful.
Or have a lapse.
So what word can mean
What does that mean,
not
we are
careful?
To be plus.
Just, if we are.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
Oh,
To be-
lax. Lax.
Lax. L-A-X.
Okay, lax means not to be careful.
Yeah, to be lax. Okay. If you're lax,
and-
you're not paying attention. Okay.
Okay,
And
so
if
with
your legs are
distraction all
lax,
around
they're
you.
relaxed. It's kind of like a part of relaxed. Okay, but lax means neglectful, careless, unmindful, slack, slipshod. I'm just looking at the dictionary now.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, it might be difficult because, of course, if you don't know that word lax, so it's and if we're lax, or
Okay, yeah. Or what? Or have. So have is okay. Have a lapse. Have a lapse. Have a lapse. A lapses? No, but no, it doesn't sound like lapses.
Wrote before, yeah. No?
So
What is the right answer?
okay, what is a lap? Okay, because you can't have a lapse plural, can you? So what is a lap?
no, you can't have a lapse. My lap are my top part of on top of my knees.
Well, actually, no. Let's put it this way: Martin and Zom have a lap. Traum, Monique, Oscar, and I don't.
Oh, so we are sitting and you're standing up.
Yeah, you only have a lap when you're sitting. It's the one part. It's a great little riddle you can ask children. Yeah. What part of the body disappears? Okay, what part of the body disappears? And it's the lap.
You sit down?
Well, when you sit down, you have a lap. When you stand up, you don't have one. You have thighs when you stand up. But yes, it's a lap.
Oh,
So
gosh.
it can't be a lapse. So how should it be spelt?
Lapse.
Yeah, Monique. How should it be spelled?
I'm just I'm one step behind. Sorry, I'm just trying to understand this part.
It's perfect. I agree.
Definitely.
That's the way you blurted it out. A lapse.
I thought I was muted. Sorry.
Oh no, you have actually got it. I will be fair. You have actually spelt it correctly, Monique. When I look back up at your thing, it is a lapse with an e at the end. Yeah.
Ah, really?
Yes.
Okay.
A lapse, as in when you. I often have lapses. A memory lapse. What I call a brain burp. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you lose concentration, that is a lapse. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So it's basically a brief moment of inattention is a lapse of concentration, a lapse of memory.
Yeah.
It's when it's just very brief, very temporary, what you might call a brain burp.
Isn't it used as well, this word, when people make videos during a period of time and you got, for example, building the construction of a building, and you have a video. I think there is a word lapse into a video that shows the construction of the building in a short time, and you can see how it has evolved.
Time lapse photography.
That's it.
That's it. Well done, Martin. Yes. You're faster than me. I was desperately
Okay,
trying to
my
think what
word.
you were asking about then, and I suddenly got it. Yeah, time-lapse photography. It's really getting quite amazing now. There was one guy, he photographed his normal plants in his house using time-lapse photography. Before watering them and after watering them, so whilst they were sort of taking up the water. It's absolutely fascinating. It's beautiful the way that the plants change.
Let's grow, guys.
Honestly, it's fantastic. It's beautiful. And I loved the way he described why he was doing it. He said it's because, everybody has plants in their house. Okay, we don't, but that's because of if you've got an allergy to fungus and stuff, don't put plants in your house, whatever you do. So we don't, but no, people who don't have allergies have plants in their house, and it's amazing. We care for them and nurture them, but they're kind of just there. We don't really pay attention to them, and so he's brought people's attention to how we look after them and how we nurture them, and how they show their
Even the plants
appreciation,
are not
if you like.
Give them a raise. Free the plants. They don't want you to. They were easy peasy, having a good time, and suddenly now someone is photographing them every 2 seconds. Come
Yep.
on. That's not good. Poor plants. It's a living species. I'm going to take a picture of you every day, morning after breakfast, after drinking your tea and so on, and
I
then
don't
I'll make a
think they're
video. I'm not sure
shy.
you're going to enjoy. You don't know. Well, they like to show off. Sure, they blossom and so on, and they grow, but you never know.
Indeed you don't. And they are amazing. So this is a piece of time-lapse photography.
This is about the plant?
Yep.
Oh, I'm going to watch a plant grow. I can't believe that. Wow!
Now you tell me that's not cool. That is really cool. It's beautiful.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That is...
It's only 18 seconds of your life.
That is cool. For how long it's been... Wow! No, that's pretty incredible, actually.
I think it's amazing. And it's because of the technology, of course. It's, the scientists have been doing this kind of thing for ages, but now anybody can. With decent enough camera and a bit of video editing software, and you're away. I love it. I love that use of the internet.
It's
Forget
like
the porn. Watch houseplants. Okay, so let's carry on. Last line of that one. Oh, Monique's well ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well done. Excellent. Perfect. Absolutely spot on. And again, this is where you've got wood and wood. They are, again, homophones. These homophones can be really tricky. So if you were to read it out, we would be made to whine. We would be made to whine. It's the same.
Maid and maid. It's not the same.
Yeah, and made. Oh, sorry, and we would be made. Yeah, made. So wood, I think everybody gets the difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wood and would as in modal verb. Yeah, from will. Now, what about maid and maid? Again, homophones. Maid and maid.
Mm-hmm. Big sound.
So MAID.
What, are you asking something?
Yeah, MAID. What is maid when it's spelt MAID?
MAID. I have no maid. You have got a maid, Monique?
I haven't got a maid.
No.
Monique, you got a maid
No.
now. Brown,
I am the maid.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a maid.
from time,
Yeah.
especially on Sundays. That's my day.
Maid day. Okay. You changed hat. Bye bye, businesswoman.
That's my wonderful day.
Yeah. So maid, as in somebody who cleans up after you. Usually we meet maids when we have chambermaids. Okay.
Yeah,
chambermaids. Where do chambermaids work?
It's still the word they use in hotels?
Yeah,
No.
it is. It is. Could you send the chambermaid to clean my room? Now, one of my ex-students, very clever guy, had been learning English for years, literally years and years and years. Couldn't stop learning English, as in he was addicted to it. I kind of weaned him off it because one day I just said to him, "Look, Doctor, yeah, I won't give his name. I said, you've really got to stop learning English. It's become an addiction. You've got to just start using it normally, naturally. Stop paying somebody to come to your office to teach you English. It's weird." And yeah, but anyhow, his English was superb, honestly, it truly was. But he did make little mistakes, as you will, as everybody will. He did go to a hotel, and the room, I think, what did he say? It was something to do with the bed hadn't been made properly or something. And he did phone down to reception and he said, "Could you send a maiden to my room?" Which was a very, very dangerous thing to ask for in some hotels.
Woohoo! So you got a girl?
No, but he nearly got thrown out. We don't do that kind of thing. It's like, but my bed needs making. It's like
Sorry. I'm in the wrong hotel. I made a mistake. Sorry, guys.
Oh dear. So yeah, sometimes that kind of. But as I said, that no amount of teaching will teach you not to say. That taught you not to say maiden. That taught you more than any teacher could teach you. It was funny. That was one of my favourite. One of my favourite.
Instead of using the word you don't know, you could actually explain what the problem is.
Yes. I need someone to come and make the bed properly would have probably been safer. But he was trying to be clever. Could you send me a maiden?
No, not necessarily. And it's tricky.
Then maybe they give you the word.
Exactly. Oh,
yes,
yeah,
I'll send whatever.
But yeah, that word chambermaid, it's still very un-PC. Nobody's come up with a... I mean, cleaner would probably be the more
Oh, well, yeah. It's better to say you
gender-neutral
can get
term. Yeah, but chambermaids prefer to be called chambermaids because it has more kudos than being a cleaner, which is sad, really. There's nothing wrong with being a cleaner. Be a good cleaner. But, yeah, it's the snobbery of the world, I guess.
But in a natural way, people don't use the word someone. Can you get someone to clean my room or to make the bed or something like this?
Yeah, exactly.
They really...
They would say, yeah, chambermaid. It's still a job.
Chambermaid. I've never heard of this one used.
Okay, right now, hotel chambermaid job vacancies in the UK. Hotel chambermaid job vacancies in London. Chambermaid jobs vacancies in London.
Yeah.
Chambermaid full and part-time jobs available. Hotel chambermaid, blah, 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 blah. It's, sorry, it's still in use. It's very un-PC, but it's still in use. And it's normally, when you look at the hotel industry, it is normally women doing that job. And it is a hard job, absolutely. Turning over a room, that's what they call it, by the way, in 15 minutes. In some of the big hotels. I mean, they just work them like slaves. It's terrible.
In luxury hotel?
Yep.
Or... Okay.
Yeah. They're on them the whole time. They have a set number of rooms to turn over, and if they don't get them all done, they'll just find somebody who will. Crazy, crazy. Tough
Yeah,
work.
if I-
I always, if I stay, I mean, not if I stay one night, but if I stay in a hotel for a week or two, I always leave money on the side for the chambermaid because I figure they do so much work. You never see them, especially a good chambermaid. You never see them, but the bed's always made, the bathroom's always clean, and everything's done for you. So I always leave them a tip, always. Yeah, you do
You will
too,
get-
Traum. Yeah. Made in
do you know-
Manhattan. Yeah, good film. Thanks, Martin. That's it. Yeah, no, it's good. It's fun. It's fun. Bit fluffy, but yeah. Okay, so let's see. Monique, can you speak now?
Yep.
Excellent. So if we give you this
I can.
verse. Okay. But
the
I'll
next
give you the one we've just corrected. Okay. Hang on a second. I've just got to cut and paste it properly. Okay, so if you read the one we've just corrected as it should have been written, okay?
Okay. Before dealing checkers, our spelling might decline. And if we are lax or have a lapse, we would be made to whine.
Very good. Very good. Well done. Now, your next challenge
Ah,
Oh my gosh.
is to read it as it's
That's hard.
written. I know.
Okay, I'll do it slowly. But now, because my spelling is checked
come on,
with
it's not Spanish or
such-
Colombia, come on. That's not the pace you speak
What is-
usually. Even in English.
What? I
There is-
I told you that
Stop,
I'm going
stop
to read that
barracking.
slowly in order. I can't believe it. Okay. I'm not gonna read that fast. Okay.
Keep
But
it
now B. Do you wanna read? But now B, because my spelling is checked with such great flair. There are no faults within my sight. Of none I am aware.
Very good.
Nonsense.
Well done.
that's it's like one word of. Usually, when there is an article and so on, you run into it more. Come on, read it again.
Now, I will say, Zom's got a point. I think in the first time you said it, you did it better because that's not cause, it's cause. When it's written on its own, it's cause. Cause for concern. Yeah, cause for concern. And the second time you read it, it was more like it should be spelt. Yes, well done, Oscar. Well done, Traum. Yeah. But now because,
Thank
not because, and not but. Now, what's the difference between but and but?
But
Part of your body.
Your butt is your butt.
Let's say the one that disappears when you
You're
sit
so
down.
American. You're so American. Okay, yes, it can be your
My butt hurts.
Is my butt big in this? So my butt's sticking out when I'm leaning on the bar here. I stick my butt out, but that's very American. There's another meaning for butt. Any ideas? Okay, I'm just going to put
Cigarette?
something on the floor here. Yeah, yeah, well done. There's the cigarette butt, yeah, the end of the cigarette, which is a little bit like the body thing, really. But there's also a butt, yeah, which is like a vat. Okay, so you can have a butt of. You can also butt someone. Yeah, a butt, as in you butt somebody. A Glaswegian kiss. Yeah, that's when somebody butts you with their head.
Okay, alright.
Yeah.
Okay. That's no good. I don't want. No, these kind of kisses for me, please. Ouch.
And you can have the butt of a gun. And you can also be the butt of a joke if a joke is on you. Okay?
Ah, so you are the butt of a joke.
Yeah, yeah. So there's lots of different meanings. You can have a rain butt, yeah? A rain butt, something that catches the rain. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, got it.
So loads of different things. Loads of different meanings for one word. But it was meant to be but. Much more boring.
Well,
You've
is
lost
it your
voice,
voice?
Traum.
Thank you.
No. Traum's lost voice. You've got a white dot, Traum. Maybe you're crashing. Okay, if you disappear, we'll know. Try again. Try speaking again.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello,
there you are.
hello,
There you
hello.
are. Hello.
Oh, now it's back. Strange.
It's probably a connection. Just somebody switched on Netflix in the house, or an internet connection burp.
Someone else using the computer, streaming videos or
Yep.
whatever.
Okay, so in that case, it should be but, as in but now because my spelling, and then let's have a look. So well done, Oscar. Well done.
It's checked
then
with just
we've
great
got-
flair.
It's
You are a
checked with such
detective
great
and a
flair.
spelling
Well
checker.
done. So what's the difference there then? Great and flair and flair.
Well, grating cheese.
Yeah, great,
Grated
as in
cheese.
grating cheese. I had grated cheese on top of my lunch. So to grate
Oh.
something, yeah?
And
It's
the
great
flair.
to grate parmesan.
Yeah, I love pasta.
Yay. You can also have a grate. Do you know where you might find a grate?
Grates? That's not the grating. It's for grating? It's a tool?
No.
No.
You might put a grate in front of your window as a security, like bars. It's a grate, or you might find a grate in the road, along the gutter. They have grates where the water can go down, but they're like the metal part is the grate.
Oh, okay. Wow, it's very technical.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've got the difference again between a grate and to grate. Okay.
Okay.
So the noun is very different to the verb in meaning, but they sound the same and they're spelt the same. Now, Oscar, you're actually standing near a grate as well. Do you know what I mean when I say in the pub here you're standing near a grate?
Not really.
Yeah.
Being annoyed? No.
No. That would be a verb. No, that would be.
I'm reading great on
standing-
somebody.
No, you're standing near a grate.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah,
chimney
fireplace. Yeah,
The
yeah.
fireplace,
That's
yes. The flat bit in front of the fireplace, the grate. Okay.
Is it the name of a stone as well or not? Great. Is it? No, it's
I
granite.
don't think so, but I'm not a geologist.
Well,
Granite,
you were
I think you're
thinking about
thinking of
technical
granite.
terms, so
Granite.
yeah.
Granite. Yeah, that's the stone. Okay, so the grate of
Yeah,
the
that's-
fireplace, it's the recess where the fire is, and also where the fire burns, basically. One of my jobs as a child was always to clear out the grate, to clean the ashes out, and to put them
Okay.
not to light the fire. I was never allowed to do that, but to set the fire for that day. That was one of my jobs as a child. Just call me Cinderella.
Hmm.
I never got to go to the
Cinderella
ball though. Still waiting for me fairy godmother. Okay, so next bit.
Flare. The flare.
Oh,
just,
sorry, yeah,
just
the
before
flare.
next
Sorry,
bit,
I forgot
the
about
flare
the flare.
is a light. It's like the shadow of a light. No, not the shadow. The opposite. When someone is.
It wouldn't be a flare if it was a shadow.
Yeah. So
I
usually
did.
on water.
That's very true. Thank you, Traum. Oh, you're lovely.
Gosh. Come on.
Don't be so cynical, Tom. Okay, so the flare, what you're trying to think of is the bright light can be a flare,
Yeah.
like the sun flare. Seemingly it keeps affecting the internet. Maybe it's a sun flare that's affecting your internet, Traum. But it can also be a warning shot, not a warning, a cry for help. If you're at sea, lost at sea, you might have a flare gun.
Yeah.
You can shoot it like a firework, and you shoot a flare into the sky. Yeah. But of course, flare, sort of flamboyance, if you like, F-L-A-I-R. So great, as in fantastic, and flare, flamboyance.
What is French?
F-L-A-I-R. Probably. I don't know. Let me have a look what Google says. Is it from a French word?
From
Stylishness, quality.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
yes,
a French
19th
word.
century French from flairer, to smell. Oh, how strange.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay. Mm. Very
This should be French.
borrowed it.
With the pronunciation, these guys.
So well done, Oscar and Monique. Now you've got a little bit of a disagreement. Oscar, you put is checked with such great flair, and Monique, you put I checked with such great flair. And I would say is, because it's is, so it's not. If it had been written I, with as in I spy with my little eye, then I would have said I spec. But I think, Oscar, you got it right. I checked, is checked with such great flair. Okay.
2 points for me. Did you notice?
No. You need more input than that, Oscar. So I will give you half a point, and if you get better, I will double that.
I finished my warming up.
Okay, let's go. I will be back in the minute. Be careful.
Okay, so now
There are no faults.
There are now. Yes, there are now. There are no faults.
There are no
with my
faults within my sight.
There are no?
No, my
I
sight.
put unknown.
Sight.
Ah, Oscar is in. He's indeed in the competition.
I'm actually cheating. I shouldn't say that, but
You are cheating.
because I've got in front of me a list of
homophones.
what, Lynn? Yeah.
Ah.
Well done.
Bloods
As I
our
said,
teacher.
no,
They are
no.
cheating all the time.
As I said to somebody in the, and I think actually you did as well. Was it you, Monique? You said there's no. Was it you or was it somebody else? But anyhow, somebody was saying, "Am I allowed to use a dictionary in the vocabulary challenge?" And they got a resounding yes.
Why
Of
not?
course
Yeah.
you can. It's not a
Right.
test. Thanks for that.
Because I remembered you, so it's just, that's your words. So,
Wait,
okay,
so
this is not
funny,
a
but-
test. Of course, you can
No, but
use
this
your
is what
dictionary,
happens.
and you can ask in the forum.
Yeah, but this is what happens to learners. They go into school mode. Yeah, it's like
But even in school, it's more complicated than when at school they give you access to everything, when they give you access to nothing. Because when they give you access to nothing, you just have to repeat like an idiot and learn by rote and repeat. If you give you anything, the exercise will be much more complicated as well.
yeah.
So
It really shocked me when I first started teaching English to adults, and remember I was teaching business English, so I was teaching some people sort of a bit lower down the food chain, but I was teaching a lot of directors and managers and it was amazing. They went back to being
Really?
school children. Truly school children.
because for the teacher, I hate teachers. See what they do to us?
But it is like this, you know, we're put into a state of teach me, I'm learning, you teach me, and there are rules. And, you know, on the forum, yes, there are rules, but they're more like about behaviour and how you treat each other. I don't care how you learn the stuff, just learn it, whichever way works for you.
Yeah.
It's quite strange. Anyway, sorry,
Exactly.
I digress.
Yeah. That resistance here. You're a teacher. Silly. Don't be a student.
Well,
Learn it the way you want
I
to.
think it's because I came from a training background. When you're training, you know, people don't go into that way of thinking of being taught. You know, in training, you're training on the job, you're showing them how to do the job, and they know
Yeah.
what training is. But learning English, to me, it should be more like training people to speak English, training people to learn English. I think it's a better mental state for people to be in, to learn a language. You're training yourself. You're not being taught. But anyway, I digress. Let's have a look at the last bit.
Here. So, where this is that.
Yeah, I
But
would
the
say.
first bit-
Actually, I've just noticed. Yeah, there are no
Of none
faults
I'm aware.
within my sight. Okay.
Within my sight.
Yeah. There are no faults in my sight. There are no faults within my sight. I can't see
In my
any.
sight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Now, it'd be really nice if I could write there are no faults within my sight.
Oh, yeah.
To you, but okay, so the next one. Oh, well done, Monique. Yeah, very good. Of none, I am aware. Very good. So, of non and non. What's the difference between non and non? Anything?
Non and non. It's not the same pronunciation, this one. I don't pronounce it non.
No,
None is
none
more like
is.
I know.
Yeah, to know, but
Well,
don't-
it's actually
they're pronounced the same.
that's one of the ones I would say, and this is a misspelling because non without
Yeah.
the e, yeah, it's normally a prefix. So like non-negotiable, non-defined. What are the prefix words start with non? Let's have a look.
We're not doing anything. She's a teacher, guys. We need to wait for the list.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, I mean, you look at it and you're like, oh, Lynn. So, non-aggression, yeah?
Non-aggression.
Non-aggression, non-belief. So it's normally, you would find it not as a standalone word. It is a prefix, okay? But anyway, doesn't matter. That it should be non with an E, yeah. As in, there were none. Okay?
Yeah.
And then the rest of it, I again, and then am aware, not aware. I'm not
Aware.
Because to wear, of course, is a verb. So you couldn't have wear. That wouldn't. It's to wear something. You could have wear, I think. Any ideas how you could have wear?
Where? To me, it's hardware, kitchenware.
Yeah, pottery is ware. People used to go around selling their wares. Okay.
Ah, okay.
Anything offered for sale is somebody's wares. Normally, you will find it in the plural.
Just,
Sorry, Monique?
you mean just the stuff in general?
Yeah,
Could be anything?
stuff that's been made. It's often nowadays cookery ware is. You'll often see that. Yeah, cookery ware. literally cookeryware. That's the only time I really see it in modern parlance, if you like. Cookeryware shop.
Sounds nice.
And
Cookeryware.
But it's funny
Yes.
because here there are two words. So when we say hardware, it's one word.
Yep, hardware as well. Well done, yeah, hardware. The Stiper
And it's one
Stones.
Yeah.
Kitchenware as well. Kitchenware, yeah. Kitchenware, cookeryware, cookingware. Yeah, kitchenware. Cookingware. Yes. So it's an old word, but it's still in modern parlance in specific terminology. Okay. But it's as an old word, it used to be sort of like when we had peddlers who would go from town to town with their wares selling, and it was usually pots and pans and bowls and plates and the stuff the local shop wouldn't stock, because how often do you need a new plate? You know, not all the time. So the peddlers were the people who brought their wares to the villages and towns. Tupperware, yeah, Traum, absolutely, yeah. Oh, Zom, yeah, Tupperware, no, Tupperware. Yeah, that's it. It's even a brand name.
But it's got meaning, Tupper?
I don't think so.
Okay, I know it's a brand, but
I don't
okay.
think so. Not that I'm aware of. If you look up Tupper, then there's Tupperware. I'd be very, very careful about looking up to Tup.
Politician.
A tup is a male sheep. Okay. And to tup is often, in farming parlance, is to remove the masculinity of a male sheep. Okay.
Ah, okay, all right.
So yes. And it's
Oh, gosh.
also the action the male sheep might do together with the female sheep. But that is farming vocabulary. You probably won't.
So the female sheep is a ewe, right?
The ewe is the female sheep, and the tup is the ram that's put into the field.
It's a ram. So the
with
ram
the
is a
female
ewe.
sheep. Yeah, the ram is
The
a male
tup.
sheep, and the tup is the male sheep who's being let loose amongst the ewes. Okay, so
Ah, okay, all right. Okay, got it.
got it. Good. Oh, okay, Traum. Thanks for coming.
Hi,
Don't forget you
Traum.
can catch up on the
Hi, Traum.
if what you missed by if you just go to the. I know we always overrun in this session. I know.
Hi, Tron.
Bye. Thanks for coming. Okay, so I don't think we are going to complete the text today, but it doesn't surprise me because it is complicated when you look at it in more depth. Okay.
Well, and I think we are a little bit shy to speak it out loud because we are afraid.
Well,
of
there's only one person who hasn't actually.
Yeah.
There's only one person who hasn't actually read it out loud yet, and that's Martin. So, Martin, I'd like you to read out loud
Yeah.
where we've got
Martin,
up to.
Martin.
Okay. Are you okay to give
Okay.
it a go, Martin? This is the correct version. Okay. So it's not as difficult to read as the incorrect version or the badly spelt version. So give it
It's
a
not
go,
incorrect.
Martin.
Okay, it is quite long because and there are four paragraphs.
You can do it.
Okay.
Come on, you can do
Uh,
it.
Happen.
I have a spelling checker. It came with my PC. It plainly marks for my review mistakes I cannot see. Checker is a blessing. It frees your loads of time. It helps me write all styles to read and aids me when I rhyme. Each phrase composed upon my screen I trust to be a jewel. The checker pours over every word to check some spelling rule. Before availing checkers, our spelling might decline, and if we are lax or have a lapse, we would be made to whine.
Very good.
But now...
Oh, sorry, carry on.
Thank you. But now, because my spelling I checked with such a great flair, there are no faults within my sight, or none I'm aware.
Very good.
Yeah,
It
thank
is
you.
checked,
That's
not
it.
I checked. It's very good. I don't know why you were so nervous. It's really good. It is more difficult to read out the misspelt one, I'll agree. But no, you got no worries there at all. Well done.
So, Lynn, a treat for us. You are going to read these 4 stanza, the original version for us?
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I have a spelling checker. It came with my PC. It plainly marks for my review mistakes I can not see. A checker is a bless. Sing. It frees you loads of time. It helps me write all styles to read and aids me when I rhyme. Each phrase each phrase posed up on my screen I trust to be a jewel. The checker pours o'er every word to check some spelling rule. Before availing checkers, our spelling might decline, and if we're lax or have a lapse, we would be made to whine. But now because my spelling is checked with such great flair, there are no faults within my sight, of none I am aware.
Oh shit, that's
Wow,
For you.
it's tough.
And you have to read it slowly. And you have to read that
You do
slowly.
have to read slowly,
If you really want to
absolutely,
catch
Monique.
what
I
you-
wasn't having a go at you for reading slowly. You can blame Zom and get your
this
revenge
this
next
is,
week.
this is why it's funny. That's tough.
It is tough. It is
Because
tough.
no.
Because
Oh gosh.
because, not because, but
Cause,
your brain
cause.
really does
Yeah.
go.
That's
it's because,
why.
it's
Yeah.
because,
Uh-huh.
it's because, yeah. Because. So you do have to stop yourself and go back. But yeah, it's tough. I didn't say it was going to be easy. Nobody said it was going to be easy.
It's weird to
Thank you.
hear you without the rhythm, the English rhythm.
Well, you can't have the rhythm because it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's just
And it's
so
nonsense
wrong. My
when you
brain's
read it that
going.
way.
Yeah, but my brain's
Yeah.
going. No.
Actually, that's funny because there is. It seems to me when you let a bot read it, that there is more rhythm when the bot is reading it than when you are. Well, it's my opinion. Huh? That when you are reading it, Lynn, because
Very possibly.
it looks like a. Yeah, and little words like to, and so on. The bot is not reading it at the same pace as you do. It decomposes less in between. I don't know. It sounds different read by a bot.
Yeah, no.
I don't know which one is. I don't know which one is right. Because there is no right or wrong in that. But a bot reads it. Not everything, but some bits is written differently. Just the rhythm, not the word, but the rhythm. And it's great. I've enjoyed you reading it. So yeah, I want the recording of this. I want the stream of this one, the link.
Well, I'm just going to try this.
I'm going to cut that bit.
Hang on.
Okay, I'm afraid I must leave the chat now.
See you next time. You'll come back for the next.
Yeah.
There are still
Good night.
4 or 6 stanzas.
Yes,
I'll
absolutely.
try
to.
I
Yeah,
But keep going. You okay, guys? To keep going with the poem?
I think
really
we should
liked
keep
it.
going. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm happy if you're happy. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Okay.
okay. Exercise, actually.
Bye
Yeah.
bye everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Oscar.
Bye,
Thank
Bye.
you. Night night.
Okay, I'm going to
Bye.
just try Zom's idea here. So hang on.
At the bottom, and you take the British voice if you want to, because
Yeah.
the American voice is something actually a bit different than the British voice. And if you take the
So not
British
sure-
voice
it
and
won't
when you
speak to-
compare
it
to
won't
you
speak to
reading
me.
it,
It won't speak to me.
oh, what?
No, it won't speak
won't
to me.
speak
It's
to
not.
me.
It's not speaking. Come on, speak to me. Go on, speak to me. No, it's just staring at me. It's really freaky. It's just staring at me. Ooh. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you. It's like I've asked for Michael, and it's a obviously transgender bot. And when I go,
I have a spelling checker. It came with my PC. It plainly
yeah.
marked for my review mistakes I cannot say.
oh, strange person you.
I cannot tell.
Okay, let's give him the original. Okay, I don't know why it wouldn't do it before, so let's try this.
I have a spelling checker. It came with my PC. It plainly marked for my review mistakes.
Just as it mistakes, you do have a limit on how much you can actually use. So, okay,
Yes.
fair enough. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for talking to me eventually. That was weird. I just had this. No, it's freaky because when you look at them, and if you're moving your mouse, their eyes follow your mouse around, and it's like, oh, I don't
Wow.
like it.
Watching you.
You can do that with most shorts texts. You can just try it out with read the words. So give it a go if you ever want to
Actually,
do
I've
that.
got
But yeah, you
I've got
heard
the full
that. It
recording.
just, he couldn't cope with the bad spelling either. He couldn't
No,
cope with
no,
bad spelling.
and it depends what kind of bots you are using. So
Yeah.
I've got the recording of one bot reading it, and most of them, they at some point they are not successful with the original version either. And when they are successful, the pace, I don't know why, the rhythm of reading, I don't know if they use a pattern or not, but it's not exactly the way you read it as well. It's pretty funny actually, and it's the reason why it's not necessarily helping when you try yourself to read it. It's very weird.
No, well, as you said, and this is why I always say to people, forget accent. Don't worry about the accent. You've got to get the rhythm and the intonation and the inflection and that's what's
it's
more
tough.
important. Oh,
It's tough.
I know, and that only comes with lots of practice in natural speaking environments as much as possible.
Well, I'm sure everybody can be successful.
Hey,
with.
Martin's
I'm not,
dropped out.
actually.
Hey, sounds cool, Martin. Peace and love, man.
Short drop out.
Okay, I'll have to explain, Martin. I hope you can hear me. To drop out kind of means to drop out. What was it? Drop out, turn on,
Drop
something
out.
like drop out, tune in, turn on, something like that. But a dropout is somebody who drops out of college or, to not do something that you were going to do. To drop out of a race. Yeah, so I had a short dropout. Sounds really nice. Maybe I don't know, what could you say for your if it was just your connection. If it was a power cut,
Crashed.
yeah, I just crashed. Yeah, I crashed. I think that's it. Yeah, but if a student drops out, they stop going to school. So maybe you did drop out.
Maybe.
Okay, but I'm going to drop out now. So thanks ever so much for coming along. And international connection drop cuts.
Failed.
Internet Burp.
He likes drop.
Yeah, so you could have a drop in speed. So you could have a sudden drop in speed, but you wouldn't say an internet drop, an internet cut, or something like that. Or my internet hung. I think that would be, yeah, my internet. Believe it or not, we do say it hung. Yeah. And I can remember that when it was dial-in, that got used a lot. Oh no, it's hanging.
Never heard before. I'm discovering this one.
Yeah.
Hang.
Just if you put lagging, hanging, slow loading, it's all there. Can hanging internet
Lagging,
also
yes.
cause computer to hang? Your computer can hang as well. So yeah, and freeze, and noodle. I
Well,
love the
they do
way the
good things
internet's
as well.
completely murdered the English language. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to leave you, and
Yeah,
I'm going to go.
see you next time.
Yeah,
Hey,
Next
thank
week.
you.
thank you
Yeah.
so much, and thanks for taking part. You did great jobs, all of you. So well done. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye. See you guys.
See you.
What should it be?
Should it be?
Half an eye. Any guesses?
Shouldn't be that word. What
Well,
about me?
How many mistakes
Just
are there
mine.
in that first line? How many mistakes are there in that line?
The verb in not in third person, maybe?
It's not the right verb. Let's go.
Halves.
Come on. What is saying? There are 3 mistakes
Yeah.
to me.
Okay, I'll read it out.
You haven't figured out. Okay, that's funny. That's puzzling. And for the beginners, come on.
I have a spelling checker. Okay. Now, I'll read it out as it should be read. I have a spelling checker. So, how should it be written? I have a spelling checker.
Private or in the nearby chat?
In nearby chat.
It's a game or?
No, we won't make it into a game. Try typing
might
it
be
into the
tough.
nearby chat as I just said it, not as it's written. Exactly. Well done, Martin.
Martin.
Yay.
You're very smart. It's faster, that's all.
Exactly. So it should be written, and let me pop the it should be written, I have a spelling checker. Okay, so with
Tapping down.
we've done the first 2 lines, so
So, any Max? It's good for pronunciation. So Max for.
oh, hang on, sorry. That should be I have.
Oh.
Checker. I'm just giving you the first 2 lines again. There you are. I have a spelling checker. It came with my PC.
So here, the easiest and mistakes. Cannot see. Guys, I've been reading this one so a few weeks ago, so I've got an advantage here. I will have to admit.
Okay, you are cheating. Okay.
Well, it was
I'm
her
not
idea.
cheating.
I did warn everybody
Yeah,
last week this was going to happen, but if you weren't here, if you didn't watch, you can't watch the recording. Don't forget, if you're not here and you're normally here and you want to watch the recording, I'll probably let you. Unless we spoke about you, in which case I won't let you.
Well, I disagree a little bit with the sound of king and can. Well,
I
maybe-
cannot see. Yeah. But this isn't about... This,
At the
this is-
brain. Your brain is going to, if you understand what it say, you are not going to read it as it's written.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
are
yeah.
going to read it with a substitution, and this is when you try to read it as it's written. It
Well,
wants a verb
normally
or
what it
something.
will do is check the spelling. Okay.
Only the spelling.
Only
All right.
the spelling. Now, there are websites out there that will try checking your grammar. There's Grammarly. There's another one. I'm trying to remember what it's called, as I'm desperately trying to get this spell checker. Maybe I've switched it off. Anyhow, I'll come back to this. I'll have a little play. So let me go new Google Doc. See what Google Docs makes of it. Okay. Okay, so there you go. So here's the spell checker. Okay, so what it will do, a spell checker will check for bad spelling. Okay, and sometimes it might check for alternative spellings, shall we say? Or it might, Google Documents, for example, might try to work out what you're trying to say. But for this first two lines, I halve a spelling checker. It thinks it's perfect, it's fine. Whereas obviously, if you were reading it as a person, written like that, you think, I? What's wrong with that I? Can anybody tell me? What's wrong with it? Is it okay?
Only one.
That in mind, do you fancy doing the second line?
Are you thinking too
What
much?
do you think it should say?
With my computer,
Yes. But the rhyme is not so good. It's
You
not
see.
a rhyme, it's a poem. It's a poem. So it's got to rhyme with C.
yeah, PC, I mean computer, yeah.
Okay, so what's wrong with that? That says PC.
The sound is a little bit longer, no? PC, 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 PC.
Yeah. So it should be
It's a long-
PC as in
it's
the
a long-
short form for personal computer, shouldn't it? Okay. Okay.
This is the easiest part.
So let's first. I'll do the first. Okay, that's the first verse. So I'll read the first verse out as it is written. Okay, and then I'll get one of you to read out the corrected version. Okay. But after that, I'm going to make you do all the hard work because I've got a sore mouth. I've been at the dentist. Okay, so
What an excuse, guys.
I have a spelling checker. It came with my PC. It plainly marks for my review mistakes I cannot see. Okay, so what do you think it should say? Okay, so welcome to Thursday Night Speakeasy. I'm not sure if it's got the right name this week because I don't think this is going to be easy to speak.
Well, there is booze, there is Guinness, so it's still
That's
Speakeasy.
true. It's a very good lubricant. Okay, so we're going to look at the spelling checker joke, as I called it. The title is I Have a Spelling Checker, and that should give you an idea of what we're going to do with this little poem. There's, of course, the right way of reading it as if it's as it should have been written, but this is called the spelling checker joke because it's how a spell checker won't check for meaning. It will only check for spelling. And if you spell something correctly, even though it's not the word you meant, if it is a word, no spell checker will catch it. Now, you can try this out if you want. Open up Google and you can if you've got Google Dictionary switched on, it will always sort of highlight. In fact, I'll do it now. I'll put it into the actual video. I'll put translate on. Okay, so I have. Let me see if I put I halve a spelling checker. Oh no, that doesn't work. Okay, maybe halve is a word. Oh, that's great. Oh no, it does. It does. Okay. Did you mean I halve a spelling checker? But it should.
It checks a little bit the grammar. A spelling checker check basic grammar.